Hello, my name is Xiuli Huang from China. I'm very excited to share our research with you. So actually, I have conducted this project in Science Normal University for 3 years. And now I'm doing my PhD in University of Göttingen. For today's presentation, I will only introduce part of the research in Science Normal University. Firstly, I want to show you the classroom in China. As you can see, in the Chinese classroom, we have about 40 students to 50 students. So it is really difficult for the teachers to focus on each individual. Now you already understand what the Chinese classroom looks like. So I will give you more detail about our research. With the development of new technologies, the way we learn language can be changed. Also, the traditional English education has its own problem. Like I mentioned before, there are too many students in the same classroom, and the students also lack of the environment to use the target language in their daily life. So in our research, we want to offer students immersive English learning environment, which is related to their daily life. And we also want to use the language learning strategies, collaborative learning strategies to promote their learning. There are quite a lot of research about this topic. The existing research has focused on motivation, has focused on the collaborative learning strategies, but they haven't yet focused on learners' perspective of their experience in virtual reality supports the classroom. So in this study, we use HTC VIV Focus in the English classroom to present real English language contests so the students can learn the target language by using the target language. We built the VR game by using immersive learning series. We also used the iCap interactive model in the classroom to design the teaching activities. So let's have a look at the research process and the results. Firstly, the setting and the development of the VR game. The main purpose of this game is to help students learn the past tense of some English verbs. We designed a role-play game. There are two roles. One is observer and one is recorder. The observer leads to observe the VR stories in the VR helmet and complete the tasks in the helmet. The recorder needs to understand the questions on the tablet, also ask observers the questions according to the spread on the tablet. Meanwhile, the recorder needs to record the information according to observer's answer. In this way, both observer and recorder need to discuss the story happened in the past. So, they are forced to use the past tense. And this is the software of the game. The first page, you can choose your role. You can choose to be observer. You can also choose to be recorder. And if you choose to be a recorder, you will come to the next page. This is the instruction, ask observer question. And this is the question, and you need to record the question. After you finish all the tasks, you can click here. Then your answer will be assisted. And you will know how's your work. And after you finish the whole page, you can click to get into next page. This is the sense from the observer. The observer will immersive into a 360-degree video, and there are also some tasks. The observer need to finish the tasks as well. This is the experiment design. Is a diagram of the experiment design. Firstly, the students need to learn lesson 15 in traditional English classroom, and then they have to take the test 1. After that, they will learn lesson 16 in collaborative virtual game support English classroom as a practice. After the practice, they learn lesson 15 in a collaborative virtual game support English classroom and take the test. At the end, we also interviewed some of the students. As you can see, when we were conducting the experiment, the teacher will teach the student first, and then they will use the VR helmets to explore and to use their knowledge. The results mainly contain 3 aspects. First one, analysis of the learning achievement. There was a significant difference between the test 1 and test 2. That means the collaborative learning approach supported by the virtual game outperformed the conventional learning approach. This is the perspective of the used collaborative immersive virtual game. We have divided it into 5 aspects. In general, the feedback was positive from all the interviewees. Most interviewees stated that the game is useful for English learning and communication in the classroom. And 7 out of 10 students liked the fact that the game is very cutting edge and thought the collaborative VR game makes English learning more interesting. Most of them also agreed that the 360-degree videos help them understand the learning content, as the VR sense was similar to the real world. However, only a few students mentioned that they found the game easy to use. And this is the perspective of the use of language learning strategies. I will introduce it from direct strategies to the indirect strategies. Firstly, memory strategies received positive feedback from the participants. All the students claimed that the game helped them to remember information in a textbook. In terms of cognitive strategies, students mentioned the game gives them the opportunity to practice what they have learned from the textbook. They received messages from teammates in English and they replied in English, which helped them to practice their speaking and listening skills. With regard to compensation strategies, students had very different opinions when they compared with traditional English learning. Most interviewees report that 3D scenes in a game enhanced their understanding of the learning content, and they could guess the meaning of the sentences and the words according to the scenario. Now, let's have a look at the indirect strategies. The interviewees indicated that they enjoy social activities in the game. They felt that every role in the game was equally important, and every student had to take part and make a contribution. Interviewees also report that the weaker and quieter students become active in a collaborative virtual game. This could be explained by the use of effective strategies. The students particularly appreciated that the system offered them feedback immediately, which enabled them to complete the task better. The affordance and the entertainment properties of the media tools were approved by the interviewees. Let's have a look at the conclusion and future research. Firstly, the collaborative learning approach supported by the virtual game was effective with regarding to improve students' grammar learning outcomes. And the participants reacted positively to the collaborative immersive virtual learning activity. There are 3 main findings. A key finding was that learning supported by portable VR devices and tablets encouraged the quiet and weaker students. Another finding was that integrating collaborative strategies into virtual reality supports learning activities can encourage students to use various language learning strategies. Also, collaborative strategies were used in the immersive language learning activity, which supported learners when they are communication. For the future research, it would be a nice idea to analyze the students' conversation and behavior in group study activities so we can understand deeply how the study happened. Also, we explore the different experience about the observer and the recorder as they are using the different tools in the collaborative learning activities. So that's all about my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any feedback and if you want a further discuss, I will be really glad if you contact me. Thank you and see you on 21st of June.